Alrighty, let's continue episode 94 into our last segment here. This segment, I did not even believe I'd be talking about this at this point in time for this sport, but the USA men's national team is back. We're back, folks. We have something to be excited about with soccer in America. There's a lot going on in the world of soccer, whether it's Champions League, whether it's league play, whatever the case is, or whether it's the Concacaf Nations League, the heralded trophy that every country in the Concacaf wants. I got to welcome Verbin into this. Verbin, what the hell is Concacaf Nations League even mean? What does that do? I've never heard of this until now. Maybe because it's the first year, right?
Hey, well, first off, USA's back, baby. We got a trophy. That's all that matters. That's the main thing here. Beat Mexico, longtime rival. I think we've lost our last 4 appearances against Mexico, so huge win on a big stage for it. But basically, the Nations League is like an extra international tournament for like the CONCACAF side, which is basically just the North and Central America, because everyone kind of like all the different continents kind of have their own thing. There's a UEFA Nations League for the European countries as well. But basically, this was just our big chance to kind of get some silverware in a time where we're definitely growing this young national team. So just to get a huge win like that, when definitely we're not all on the same page just yet, but it's awesome that they're still able to kind of scrape something out like that with this team here.
So let me ask this just to make sure I get it right and to make sure the viewers, listeners watching on YouTube, listening on Spotify, wherever you might be, if you're not watching on YouTube, go check us out, leave some comments. The Champions League is like club teams. Yep. The Nations League is the country teams. Is that correct?
Yep, exactly. So like the cool thing about, both of them is that like for the Champions League, the reason that it's so big is that it's every European league. So basically the top teams in every single European league all over there are all competing against each other. These are teams that otherwise would never play each other. So that's why it's kind of like that prestige level to it when they're playing there. And every single one of those players on those teams could be a part of different national teams. So that's why the Nations League is kind of cool in itself, because you get to see all the teams and all the players that otherwise wouldn't be on the same club team together, kind of coming together for the national team. That's why the USA, it's such an awesome time, because all of the European or the guys that are playing on European clubs are now finally being able to translate that to our national team for the U.S. here. So
that makes sense. That makes sense. So the semifinals for this, so 4 teams in total made it to the Final Four out of 12.
Yep.
So pretty big accomplishment there. First game of the semifinals, the U.S. defeats Honduras 1-0.
Yep.
Mexico beats Costa Rica on penalty kicks, which takes us to the final of USA versus Mexico. And on the grand scheme of things, don't sugarcoat it at all for me. How big of a victory was this for the USA men's national team? I know you touched on it, but does this compare to like the USA hockey team beating the USSR? Is this like monumental for the direction of the country's soccer?
I would say, like, I don't know if I put it up there with the Miracle on Ice, because I mean that's definitely like one of the greatest USA events in all time. But like you were saying, one of the best directional things that we could do for the future of this team. I mentioned it earlier. Like this team, is definitely raw talent and just youth. Like Pulisic, our best player, is 22 years old. The dude just won the Champions League, which is the pinnacle of soccer, other than the World Cup, and immediately the following week ends up winning the Nations League. So I mean, we definitely have a lot to do when it comes to team chemistry and, being able to kind of, work out some of the kinks. But the fact that a team that really isn't playing their best soccer yet could beat a great Mexico team and finish a game in extra time, and our backup keeper comes in with a save to like, I'm in disbelief by how that all went out, man. Ethan Horvath, Secretary of Defense for the U.S. now going forward. So.
Yeah, so some people wasting time watching Logan Paul versus Floyd Mayweather when you could have been spending your time watching a monumental victory directionally wise for the USA men's national team. You talked about Horvath there. Does this pretty much secure him as the starting goalie and Tim Ream is out? Is that the case here? Is that what's going to happen?
Man, I tell you what, the crazy thing to me is that if Zach Steffen, who again is the backup keeper for Man City, he's an unbelievable player for the national team. If he doesn't go out injured in the first part of that game, do we even win this game against Mexico? That's the crazy thing to think about, because even Horvath saving that PK, there's no guarantee that Zach Steffen would have dove that same way. There's a little bit of luck and a little bit of skill to PKs, especially on the goalkeeper side. So for him to come up with a save like that and a lot of other saves that he did during the game, just coming off the bench, not prepared mentally, to hop right into that game, especially as a backup goalkeeper. You got to imagine you're never expecting to come onto the field if you're not getting the starting call for that job, unless some freak accident happens. And sure enough, it did. But man, he was definitely ready for the call for sure. So I think it's worth giving him a starting shot going forward. So and
that was my mistake there. Tim Ream was a defenseman. I think that.
Oh, I know what you meant. I know you're thinking of Tim Howard still, the legend.
I'm trying to keep up with soccer as much as I can, but I have to watch all the sports, and I only have 2 eyes and 24 hours in a day, so it's tough.
I know you got your curling on the mind there. That's the first and foremost love. So
curling's on the totally small monitor. You can catch that in the west wing of the Poojie house. Dude, curling's always on.
Something that I wanted to talk about though that's been on my mind since sports have kind of returned to normal here is what is going on? These fans lost their minds. Like, did people forget how to enjoy sports? Because I don't know if you've seen over the past couple of weeks, we had the fans for the Mexico-USA game throwing stuff on the field. We had the Orlando City game a week or so ago. Players getting hit with bottles on the sideline. We had the basketball games, Trae Young getting spit on, Kyrie Irving getting hit with popcorn. Have people did people think that they're still watching from their couch? Do you think that people have just lost the plot? Like, what's going on here?
You're 1,000,000% right. People forgot how to behave. It's like people in California probably forgot how to drive because of quarantine. They weren't able to go anywhere. So we'll just say that they're still locked up over there in California, and even Canada, they don't know how to drive anyway. So they're probably all fucked up. But you think about it. I think that's a great idea. I think sports venues need to implement a go crazy room in the venue. So make a room with holograms of the players in $10, you're a fan, you get to go in and you get to throw whatever you want at the players, let off some steam, and then go back to your seat. I think that might be a new addition to some venues.
Right, dude, it's crazy because these people are coming back spending hundreds of dollars on these tickets, and then they're banned for life for the rest of that, of their time for that stadium. So it's like, is it really worth it? Like, you're only just getting back to sports and you're already screwing things up for everyone else. So
yeah, it's awful. We talked about that on episode 93 of what that means, what it means for sports with extra precautions and netting and all that shit, whatever's going to happen with it. So you talked about the save on the penalty kick in like the 123rd minute. Yeah. So, okay. So soccer is not like hockey in that it's not golden goal, right? In extra time, it's
no. So how it typically works is there's 2 15-minute periods. So just like the regular time, like there could be added extra time. So what that means is like if there's any stoppages, injuries, substitutions, players just wasting time in general, the referee can keep time on his own. So that's why it went past the 120th minute, is that was the referee keeping his own time, because I guess we had some injuries, and then the PK call, them reviewing it also takes that extra time as well. I think it literally went to the 130th minute for that game before they finally blew the whistle. So nerve-wracking to say the least. And imagine these guys running, and this is like guys that are running probably 8 to 10 plus miles there physically, battling against these the Mexican national team. And I know they were definitely ready to hear that whistle at the end for sure. So.
Yeah, and so I'm looking behind me. I'm looking. Mexico just scored. I'm watching the highlights, or you're watching the highlights behind me. Mexico scores. Their fans are going crazy. Mexico has some of the most passionate fans, if passionate's even the word for it, in all of soccer. I've heard at most World Cups in any city, Mexico brings some of the most fans out of any country.
They travel really well. I can honestly say, I've got respect for the Mexican fans. Like they literally pack almost every stadium that they are playing with. So that's why every single game, no matter where it's played, this was in Denver, and the Mexican fans were out in full force. That's why every game feels like a rivalry match against them, because it is, honestly. But yeah, I mean, it was a huge atmosphere for us too.
So country versus country, Mexico number one on the list for the U.S. Is that the biggest number one competitor?
I would say Mexico for sure, because they've been the team that's had our number the most in the past 10 years. And like I'd say the other big tournament for us besides the World Cup is the Gold Cup. And Mexico has been whooping us in the final for the past couple of years. So I think it's finally we're hitting that hill where we're turning the corner on this rivalry, and we're going to start getting some of our own here. So it's only a matter of time.
We need that. I need something to be excited for. Meanwhile, I'm getting ready to watch Colombia versus Argentina here in a little bit, about an hour or so. So hopefully when people are listening to this, Colombia has beaten Argentina. We will see if that's the case. I want to ask you about a young superstar on this team who I think you might already be a big fan of, because I think he plays on your club team, or your team that you're a fan of club-wise, Giovanni Reyna. I'm pretty sure he plays for Borussia Dortmund, right?
Yep. Yes, sir.
So young guy, right? Like he barely can join the military if he wanted to. He's like 17 or 18.
Yep.
And he's out there running around with Pulisic and all these other guys making a difference. Are you more excited about the future of the U.S. men's national team because of Pulisic or because of Reyna or because of both combined?
I'll tell you what, man. I'd say there's three guys on the national team that we needed to step up that did step up in that game. And it was Pulisic, Giovanni Reyna, and then Weston McKennie. And those three guys are the biggest three players on the club team internationally. Weston McKennie is playing with Cristiano Ronaldo over in Juventus. So you could tell that he just had that different level. He looks like he's going to be our captain moving forward. Again, a guy that's only like 20, 21 years old. Insane that like our basically our entire team is all 18 to 22 years old. So, I mean, Christian Pulisic too, he also came out of Dortmund. These are guys that like are getting chances that we've never seen Americans get before. Like, you know, we were excited 10 years ago when Clint Dempsey was on Fulham getting a goal here and there, you know, every 15 or so Premier League games. We have a guy now, we have multiple guys now that are scoring week in and week out for the biggest clubs in the world. And that's something that we've never seen. So the fact that like, you know, we're already starting to see success out of a team this young. We knew this was coming. We just didn't know how soon. So the fact that we're already seeing some of the fruits of that now, I can't imagine what this team can do going forward. So hopefully,
it's an exciting time. Hopefully, obviously, all of them can create that chemistry and play together. The great thing is, you know, you can't go play for a different country. You can go play for a different club, but hopefully we keep these guys obviously wearing the American USA jerseys. We kind of keep building this momentum. As far as Christian Pulisic goes, let's do some word association. I'm going to name an athlete from an American sport, professional sport. You're going to tell me better or worse for his respective team. I'll start it off easily. LeBron James.
I would say LeBron right now has more of an impact, but that's because Pulisic is only in the beginning of his career. I think by the end of his career, I think Pulisic could go down as the greatest men's national team player that we've ever seen.
Okay. Tom Brady.
Man, you're giving me tough ones. You're giving me like legends in their own sports here too. So I would say,
I want to know, Verben, I want to know, is Pulisic going to be a legend? Is that what we're witnessing?
I think so. I think that he, at 22 years old, is accomplishing things that we have never seen from a U.S. player. So, like, currently now, I think that he's already ahead of a lot of the USA legends. But to get to that stage where, like, I would put Ronaldo and Messi on that Tom Brady, LeBron James ladder. And is he at that point? I got to be realistic, and I got to say no right now. But
so where is he? Where is he? Where is he in your regard? If you had to pick, is he like Kyrie Irving right now?
No, it's funny. I was going to say that, where, like, he's got just raw talent, and he just needs to focus that and have the right people around him to start winning some championships. And I think that that's probably, like, the perfect metaphor I can give right now for his, like, where he's at currently, at least. Because he's got the skills. He's got skills for days. It's just whether that can translate into actual success on the field. So we got to see.
So we'll give him the Kyrie Irving, maybe Patrick Mahomes status right now, and
where they got a couple titles under their belt, but you can tell that there's a lot more to come. Like I would say that's probably the fairest evaluation.
Maybe Ronald Acuna. It's harder to win championships in baseball as a player, but no, I like it. I mean, hey, I'm excited. Like I said, I'm just excited to be excited. And like that's the most excited thing I can say.
Exactly. So, well, when you miss out on the last World Cup cycle, you got to look forward to anything for the U.S. side here. So I'm just excited that, again, we're playing games, we're winning games, and we got something to talk about. So
that's great. All right, Verben. Well, thanks for jumping on. Appreciate you being here. Pooj crew listening at home, on the go, wherever you may be. Please subscribe. Please follow wherever you are. Go to PoojiePodShop.com. Get you some merch. Buy one of these hats, buy a t-shirt, support the podcast, and follow us on Instagram as well. We're always putting out good content, good polls, trying to build the brand as best as we can. With your help, we can do it. We're getting there, so continue to support, and I appreciate you. We'll continue putting out good content, so as long as you declare to listen. And I will see you next time, episode 95 of the Poojie Podcast. Go enjoy some sports. Go enjoy some weekend weather coming up, beautiful weekend weather, and most importantly, go make this world a better place